Welcome to Empowered by Iron, the podcast for female strength athletes by female strength athletes. We're your hosts, Kristen Lander from Fiercely Field Nutrition Coaching and Mary Morton.
Hey everyone, this week we're going to talk about something that we posted on our Instagram about. So if you're not following us on Instagram, go check us out at Empowered by Iron, just like our name. We posted this last week about topics and what you guys wanted to hear, and we got a really good suggestion from, who did we get it from, Kristen?
Jess Hodder
about lifting when your significant other is not supportive or lifting differently than your significant other.
Yeah, so if you're dating someone or married to someone who is not a lifter or not very into nutrition, how do you navigate that?
Right.
And it's really funny because that's something that is so second nature to Mary and I that we had never even considered doing that as a topic. It's just something that we live with and navigate pretty easily. And so we were excited when we saw that. So thanks for the suggestion.
Right. Yeah, Kristen and I both, we both have, our husbands are super similar. So we both, every time something happens, we're like, oh, this is what happened with my husband, and she can, anyway, we'll get into that.
Right.
Our husbands are not weightlifters, so
right.
There you go.
Right. And so something we really never do on this show is talk about our husbands. Right. And did you guys know Mary, super recently just got married?
Yeah, I did it secretly without anyone knowing, so surprise.
Secret
it's still
lovers.
Weird. Oh my God.
Okay.
It's still weird to say husband, so
yeah,
just call him my partner.
So anyway, but we want to share a little bit about them and their training and their nutrition so that you guys understand how vastly different it is from what we do. And then we're going to talk to you guys about how we navigate that, because we've just found some really great ways that work for us.
Some less commotion causing ways, I'd say.
Yeah.
Ways that keep things at peace.
Right. Peaceful.
Peaceful.
Mm-hmm. So my husband, Eric, is a former elite athlete.
Almost Olympian.
Yeah, he trained at the highest level that there is in his sport. He was a decathlete, and he trained missed the 96 and the 2000 Olympics, and then was kind of done, but barely missed them. So he is no stranger to intense training. His body is pretty spent up. He wants nothing to do with going to the gym and training hard and being intense about it. Yeah, I mean, he has chronic pain. He limps around. He never complains about it, but he limps almost every day. And he's almost 45 and he just wants to be healthy.
He feels 60.
Yeah. He does, but he looks 30, so I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah,
but
he looks young.
Yeah. So, he goes to the gym about 3 days a week. We don't even go to the same gym. We train at different places.
It's just funny.
Right.
I find that hilarious.
Right. He just hops on his bicycle and rides down the street and goes to the gym down the street, and he does some cardio and he does some squats or some bench, and then he rides his bike home and sometimes stops at Arby's on the way home for lunch.
That's the dream. I would love to be able to ride my bike to the gym. I would actually love that.
It's a little further for us.
I wouldn't do it because people down here would hit me with their car.
Oh,
anyway.
That's true. That's
okay,
true.
so Eric.
So, yeah, he basically just trains to avoid lifestyle diseases, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, stuff like that. So that's what he does. And then he plays volleyball on Sundays for fun. So but he wants to have nothing to do with competitive sports. And his diet, while it's good, I mean, he doesn't really eat any processed foods. He eats pretty healthy, but he likes going out for Mexican with the guys and beer. He's a home brewer. He likes to brew beer. And so he just finds balance. He has zero interest in counting his macros or even thinking about what he's eating, other than the fact that, yeah, I'm eating a lot of vegetables and
some meat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Good meat, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
my mom always says that you know, he probably eats pretty well because you buy the food and you cook a lot, right? So
well, he taught me to cook though. Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea how to cook. I was a mess.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. No, he taught me to cook, and he's an amazing cook, and he loves to cook.
I can attest to that. He made us food once, and it was
really good.
Amazing.
Everyone loves to come over
Oh my
and
God.
have his food. Yeah. But when I started, when I was cutting a weight class, I took over all of the meal prep because otherwise he got annoyed with me watching over his shoulder, which is another thing we'll get into. He got pretty annoyed with me asking like, oh, what was in this and how much of that? And so I could tell he was annoyed. So I just cooked all of our dinners. But no, he's good. He's good. Mm-hmm. Tell us about Ben.
So Ben, hi, it's Mary, and Ben, he also is not very interested in any of that stuff. So he's a few years older than me, not like a lot. Speaking of, he's calling right now. Someone's calling Kristen too. So I'm sorry, babe. I love you, but I can't answer the phone right now. So when he was younger, when he was my age, 25, he was really into lifting, because that's when I met him. He was really into lifting. One of the reasons he wanted to go out with me is because I told him I was into the fitness.
Really?
Yeah. He surprised one day he wanted to hang out after work or whatever, and I was like, I can't. I'm going to the gym. And he goes, you work out? Like cardio? And I was like, no, like weights and stuff. This was before I got into anything serious. But it was like, oh, no, I lift things, I think that's what it is I do. Anyway, so oh yeah, my chair squeaks. Sorry if you hear my chair squeaking. But he lifts, so he used to be pretty into it. He wasn't Olympian by any means. But now what he does is he works out about 3 or 4 days a week, and he focuses a lot on mobility, calisthenics, which is just a body weight.
He is a body weight master. He can do some crazy stuff. I've seen him.
Yeah, he can do a lot of body weight stuff that I couldn't even dream of doing. I mean, I probably could, but I'd really have to work at it. But he's more interested in staying mobile and staying fit, and he's not interested in being, I mean, I squat more than him, and he brings that up almost daily, and I think he's bragging, and at the same time he's like, can't believe my wife squats more than me. Right. But he doesn't find it, he's not competitive in the fact. He's like, oh, can't believe you squat more than me.
Right.
And his diet has evolved since we met. So when we first met, we were both broke as shit, so we kind of ate whatever we could that was cheap. So we didn't really have, I mean, I always counted and was tracking and was paying attention to what I ate and stuff, but he never did. And when we first moved in together, he again was not interested in tracking, but he did follow some sort of nutritional routine. He would kind of measure with his hands protein and vegetables and carbs, and he lost about 20 pounds since we moved down here, which is hilarious because the way that he lost it is I was gone for 1 week. He lost 12 pounds.
What?
12 pounds.
Did he just not eat?
Basically. Okay, it was like 10 days, but still.
Okay.
He just ate like tofu and veggies. And then I went home again, like 6 months later, back to Colorado, and he lost another 12 pounds. So, like, I was gone, and he just lost weight. But now, so for a while, he got very frustrated with me about nutrition and whatnot. But now what he does is he and I are pretty close in how we do food. We are very open, and we communicate, which we'll get into later. But we both follow a vegan-style lifestyle. But he goes out with Eric and whatnot, and they go out and they eat Mexican once in a while.
Eric's a bad influence for the vegan lifestyle.
Absolutely, but Ben is very easily manipulated. And he drinks beer, so we have very different lifestyles.
Yeah. So we wanted to tell you guys all that because we found some really good ways to navigate this stuff just through trial and error. And so if you are just now starting to date someone who is not into this and you're kind of trying to figure out how to navigate it, or if you're recently into lifting and your spouse is like, what's going on? We've got some good tips for you.
Disappears for 4 hours a day.
Right.
Where are you going?
So, I think one of the biggest things is your significant other has to be supportive of what you're doing, especially if you're trying to compete. They need to be supportive of it.
Whether they understand it or not is a completely different story. They need to be able to say, I don't understand why you do what you do. That's fine. I support you in what you do.
Right. And then I think the other really big thing is like invite them to be a part of it because
Yes,
it's nice
don't
to be
exclude
invited.
them.
Yeah, don't exclude them.
Because who knows? Maybe they really did want to get into it, but they didn't want to take like your thing.
Right. But also, if they aren't interested, that's okay. Don't push them. You know,
Yeah, no.
I tried to get Eric to join CrossFit back when I was doing CrossFit.
How'd that go?
No, that didn't go well at all. He was not interested at all.
What?
And I kind of was a little pushy at first, and then I was like, whatever, it's fine. It's totally fine for us to have different interests. We started out, though it's funny because when we met at the gym at our school, and we used to train together, and we were workout buddies. But anyway, so that time has
Come and gone.
come and gone. That's right. But at any rate,
She replaced him with me.
don't force them to come to your events. Don't force them to come to your meets. If they want to come, that's great. But don't take it personally if they don't want to come to your meet. It doesn't mean that they don't love you, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't support you. But if you're not into lifting and you go to a CrossFit competition or a weightlifting meet or a powerlifting meet, it's so boring if you're not into it. Yeah.
I mean, Kristen and I can sit there probably for a whole meet, and some of you guys probably, and you will be happy just to sit. Even if you weren't lifting, like I could sit and watch people lift all day.
Yeah.
But if I brought Ben, it'd be fine. He also has a slight bit of ADD. So in 5 minutes, he'd be like walking around and running around the area like, okay, is there something else for me to do? Right. And for me, speaking on that, I don't like, no matter what it is in life, I don't like bringing people into things that I know that their heart's not in.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to force him to come to that. Just like, I don't like when he tries to bring me out with the guys or bring me to something I don't want to do. Like for the longest time, because I'm a young 20-year-old adult, right? 20-year-olds go to bars. I hate bars. You have to talk to people. People are loud. People are throwing up. And you're like, can you get your life together, pretty please? And he would try to bring me. And finally I had to sit down and be like, look, you don't want to come to the lifting things. I don't want to go to the bar things. Can we do home things and then have our own things?
Yeah.
And so that was the coming together moment. Like, look, it's not that I don't want you to go to the bar. I don't care that you go to the bar. I don't want to fucking go to the bar.
Right.
And if you don't want to come with me and live, don't fucking come.
Right.
I'll meet you home for dinner.
Yeah, it's about appreciating your differences and celebrating them, and then having something that you guys can do together.
Right.
So don't allow them to feel threatened, and you don't feel threatened by the fact that you guys are interested in different things. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't try to force them into being like you.
Right. Because you love them because they're not like you or like them.
Right.
You're fond of them. You don't push the love thing if you don't want.
But if your significant other is belittling you because of your goals or how much time you spend at the gym, that's not okay. Don't accept that from anyone. If they're threatened because you are trying to better yourself, that's a very clear indication that they are too insecure for you. And this is going to carry over into other aspects of your relationship. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty big red flag. And I would really, if that's happening, I would really communicate with them about that and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. And, that could stem into other abusive situations or like,
right.
They don't want you to go to the gym. Well, they don't like your friend Kathy. Well,
right.
They don't really like your side of the family either. So
right.
and I'm not saying that it will, but like, if you're going to make this life work, you need someone that's your cheerleader.
Right. Definitely. I found there's been this quote circulating on Instagram and Facebook a lot recently, and I tracked down where it came from. It actually came from a book called Dear Woman. I think it's just a book of poetry that this man, Michael Reed, wrote. And one of the things, you guys have probably seen it, but I'm going to read it to you because it is amazing and so perfect for this situation. So it says, Dear woman, sometimes you'll just be too much woman, too smart, too beautiful, too strong, too much of something that makes a man feel like less of a man, which will make you feel like you have to be less of a woman. The biggest mistake you can make is removing jewels from your crown to make it easier for a man to carry. When this happens, I need you to understand, you do not need a smaller crown, you need a man with bigger hands. Boom. Yeah, I love that.
Or
So,
man, you can replace with partner.
sure,
Just
absolutely.
depending.
Yeah. So don't don't give up on something that you really want to do just because it's a temporary strain on your relationship. Find a way to make it work. And if it's not working and you can't make it work, well, then maybe you need to part ways. But
Don't be fooled. There was a time in both Kristen and I's relationship, not with each other, because let's be honest, we like lifting together. But
we're awesome together.
yeah, totes. With our significant others, that it caused a lot of turmoil.
Sure.
Like Ben, for the longest time, couldn't wrap his brain around me wanting to go and do this, and I couldn't wrap my brain around him going to the bar. And like I said before, it was that coming together that we talked about it. But it was a good couple months of us kind of like, I can't believe you're doing this again. Why are you doing this? And now we're kind of at peace. And it's not, when I say I'm at the gym, I'm at the gym. I'm not at some guy's house. Like he can come there at any moment of the day.
Yep.
Or when I'm there, not the day. I do have a job. But he can come and I'll be where I say, and he is where he says.
Right. Yep.
Not that I've ever driven by the bar he says that he's at. I would never do that.
Do you do that?
I did that once. I was just driving home and I was like, I'm curious.
Is he really there?
He was. Yep. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I don't think he lies about going to the bar.
Nope.
Anyway, yeah, so it comes down to trust. Like, we spend anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a week at the gym.
Yep.
And sometimes there's other guys there.
Yeah.
Sometimes we even talk to them, as long as they're not
work
obviously
out with one.
Right. As long as they're not obviously there to pick up chicks.
Except that one time. One time this guy was there who we'd never seen before, and he was trying to instruct me how to squat.
Which time? This has happened a couple of times.
This was like the trucker guy with he had Chick-fil-A or something.
Oh, that guy was so creepy.
Chick-fil-A boy.
Oh, yeah, he was just visiting in town, I think. But yeah, so you just have to, there has to be trust in the relationship. And your significant other has to be secure enough with the relationship in order for you to be spending that much time with other people, training, doing something that's just yours. It's just for you. And at the same time, like, don't be doing questionable things. Like, if you meet a new person at the gym, so say you date guys and you meet or you're married to a man and you meet a new guy at the gym and you're like lifting buddies, like, don't suddenly go out and get coffee or beers with this person. That's even if it's totally innocent, that's really gonna cause some trust issues in your relationship, in my opinion.
Yeah, just be honest.
Right.
When I squat usually every Tuesday with one of my dear friends, Paul, who we both love. Paul, he's a what would you say? He's a strapping 29-year-old. Just kidding. He's like 40 or 50. He's
my husband's
40.
age.
He's 40.
He's like, I think.
But I squat with him every Tuesday, and I'm very open with Ben about it, and I'm going to squat with Paul. You're more than welcome to come. He's actually squatted with us once or twice. He's been there watching. He likes Paul too. He actually really likes Paul. But it's that if I was weird about like, oh, I'm going to the gym. Yeah, I know it's later than normal, but I'm just gonna go. Whatever. And then he one day shows up and there's this strapping man helping me squat.
Yeah, I mean, Paul's a good-looking, ripped guy.
He is. He squats like 500 pounds. He could probably beat the shit out of Ben.
Right.
So, like, if you're not open and honest with what's going on, then of course they're going to doubt you. Of course they're going to question everything. So this goes back to the beginning. Like, don't feel like you need to hide things, and don't feel like you need to change who you are, what you want to do because someone's like, ugh, I don't like that.
Right. Yeah, communication's key. So if your partner has a problem with you doing something, they need to communicate that with you, and then you need to sit down and figure out some sort of resolution. And I think communication is totally key in this, even to the point where, if they feel like, you've really been at the gym a lot lately and I really want to go see this movie or like go out and get pizza or whatever, and you don't have like a meet coming up super close, you could maybe take a day off or move your training to a different time. Do it. Be flexible. Like, allow for them to state something that they're not happy with or that they're concerned about, and give it some validation and say, okay, well, what can I do different? Like, don't get defensive about it. I think that it's hard, especially for guys, to tell us that they have a problem with something. So just look for those cues, even if they're not verbally saying it. If they make a snide remark, like, hey, wait, stop. Why'd you say that? What's going on? Is there something I can do differently? But that's communication's really key. And then being flexible with,
bend, don't break. Bend, B-E-N-D, but don't break.
I thought you said bend, don't break. Like, my husband don't break.
I hope not. I don't know how to fix that.
Bend, don't break. I got you.
Yeah, be flexible.
Yep.
One thing that I really learned in high school, and it's the wisdom of my years, I suppose. It doesn't matter if you think someone's feelings are validated or not. To them, their feelings are legitimate and they're validated. So if you truly care about that person, take 5 minutes and say, okay, let me really try to put myself in your shoes. Okay, Ben's disappearing for 3 hours a day. He's hanging out with sometimes another girl, sometimes another guy, and I don't see him that time. Yeah, I can see how I would feel weird about that.
Yep.
So just be compassionate but stern.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their own emotions.
Absolutely.
You can do with that information what you want, but if you want to make your relationship work, I highly recommend trying to figure a way around this. And but what I think I really want to end this by saying that ultimately, and I know Mary would agree, our lives, because our husbands aren't involved in our lifting, it's actually kind of awesome. I mean, Eric, if you're listening, I don't think he listens, but don't get me wrong. I love you. If you want to come lift with me, that's awesome. But because I've been doing it on my own, I had to create this community of people around me. And if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have the teammates that I have. I wouldn't have the coach that I have. This podcast wouldn't even exist if I just went to the gym with my husband and we trained together every day.
I would have never approached a married couple. You guys are cute. Can I lift with you?
Right. So it's totally not the end of the world if your significant other is not into lifting. And it's
possible. Both of you have to come to some sort of agreement. Like Kristen said, if they're being passive aggressive and there's something wrong, just talk to them. And then if they get defensive and mean, there's a fucking problem. Right. But, if you truly love them, especially if you're married to them and, you have a life together, first of all, realize that lifting is not the end of the world. If you don't lift, that doesn't mean that your life is over. There really are more important things than lifting. Although lifting is very important to us because we are athletes. But also, if you have a hobby and it's something you love to do, don't let anyone take that away from you, especially the person who's supposed to be there for you and supporting you.
Right. I will say that I have had times in my life where I've been in relationships where someone wasn't supportive of my hobby, and I just kind of let that hobby fall by the wayside. And I really regret doing that. And that's just something I will not do ever again. I was young and silly and wanted love and was a cute boy. But anyway, don't do that.
I'm the opposite. So I'm a really busy person, and I hardly have time to myself anyway. So when I came to Ben with the idea, Kristen and I's idea of the podcast, he was like, I don't think you have time for that. You shouldn't do it. I was like, that's unfortunate because I already ordered the mics. So we're recording on Monday.
I think I told you when you said that. I was like, well, that's too bad we're doing it.
That's basically what happened. And, it turned out for the better. We love it. It's one of our favorite things, but Ben is just so supportive of it. He loves that we do it and all that stuff.
And it gives he and Eric more time to go drink beer together.
Right. They get to hang out when we're together. They're best friends forever. That's how that works.
All right, guys. So if you've got a story about how you are making this work or questions about how to make things work, we're certainly no relationship experts, but we've been doing this a long time. So give us a shout out and let us know if you have any questions.
Contact me. I'm a life coach now. Got wisdom beyond my years. Shoot us an email at empoweredbyiron@gmail.com. And if you want one of us to specifically respond, make it out to one of us, but usually both of us responding. Like, did you see that email? Anyway, check us out on Instagram and stay tuned for next week.
See you guys.
Bye.